What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and happy Euro 2024 day, people, as the Euros kicks off tonight. Germany against Scotland, opening game. And also, happy transfer window opening day, or as Arsenal call it, Friday. Yeah, so there you go, people. Big up to everyone locked in. The transfer window is now officially open. Are we going to do any big business, man, or is it just going to be, I don't know. It feels very slow. People were saying, oh, the window's not even open yet. Calm down. I said, bro, players are signing for clubs. Yeah, maybe they're not being announced officially, but there's players moving and shaking. But we'll see what happens, people. I got a feeling it's going to be a very slow summer. I think with the Euros and the Copa America and all this profit and sustainability thing, I think it will be a slow window, that's for sure. Big up Thermal said, nice background. Yeah, man. Lawrence said, Curtis, I just saw you at the Armory buying wind toys. I've ordered them on delivery, bro. I didn't want to go and collect them. I've got 45 of them coming. Aubameyang's lawyer. Listen, the streets won't forget, people. We need a striker, so listen, I have to look back on previous strikers. So, yeah, it is what it is. About two proper number 14s that we had at the football club. Chris said, big up C-Unit. Don't go on AFTV again. You're too real for that issue. I mean, listen, man. Big up the guys. I was on AFTV last night talking transfers. And again, anytime I go on that channel, we're going to be arguing and debating. But it's all respect, man. It is what it is. I said sign Ivan Toney. Robbie said he's too old. I don't agree with that, And off camera, I was saying to him, look, Bayern Munich paid 100 million for Harry Kane at the age of 30. They're not bothered about the sell-on fee after. Sometimes you're just buying something for the here and now. Toney, to me, scores goals at Arsenal. Not everybody agrees. Some people think Toney had a quiet 6 months. He's 28. He's not world class. I understand all of that. I just look at it as I think he's a prolific striker. If you can score 20 league goals at Brentford, what does that equate to if you come to Arsenal with the amount of chances that we create? But listen, it's football, it's opinions. And it is what it is. Big up Uncle Whoopap said, hey, it's my birthday. Happy birthday today, bro. Big up for tuning in. Big up Jeezy said, C-Unit business. Cello said, Toney is still the right striker to buy. I would definitely get him. But it is what it is. You was biting your tongue. You're a true professional. Like I say, man, you walk in your own house. You can keep your own trainers on sometimes, You go in someone else's house. You take your trainers off at the door. It's one of them. But big them up, man. We had a good discussion. Obviously, I get on with all the guys there. But yeah, different viewpoints. That's what football's all about. And this is what I say all the time. I don't have a problem with anybody having a different football opinion. That's the game. We all watch the same game and see it for our own eyes. You go on Twitter, you have a different opinion. They cry about it. That's the problem with football nowadays. Well, go on, ladies and gents. Smash the like button, says Trixie. What happened to the Toney talk? I have got an update on Ivan Toney, and I tell you for sure, it does not look like he is coming to Arsenal, which I think is a shame. My 14s, King Omri and King Aubameyang. Nothing wrong with having manners. Big C shows you as razor. Exactly. Pleases and thank yous. They take you a long way in life, people. I'm telling you. Anyway, anyone in England today, just tell me about the weather. I know I'm moving like Ty here, people. Oh, it was raining, the pitches were... Bro, 14th of June, 14th of June, summertime. British summertime. Rain outside, hoodie on. Like, I'm tempted to put the heating on. Not quite. It's about £1,000 every 10 minutes for the radiator to go on. But, yo, what is going on with the weather in this country right now? I need to go on holiday, man. A holiday needs sorting out. I can't be... I'm meant to be, wearing a basketball shirt now. I'm wearing a hoodie. What is going on here, man? But, hey, it is what it is. Should be used to it in England, right? It's always raining. It's nice in Ireland, apparently. I might have to go Dublin. Think we'll go for Rashford and not a striker, and we'll try to convince Rashford to play up front. I see. You know me, people. I like Rashford. I would take him. I just don't know about him up front. With his back to goal, I think he's a better left winger, but it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal did something like that. But hey, July it's going to be worse. Please, no. Please. I need some sunshine in England, man. I need some sunshine. Come to Houston, got plenty of heat and humidity. Bro, I wish. I wish. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the show today. Lots to talk about. Big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're having a good Friday. Hey, it's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. Hey, listen, it's what we got today. So we're gonna do a watch along tonight. Germany against Scotland. Kieran Tierney against Havertz. I'm not going to do every game of the Euros, I'm going to be honest. I love football, but, I'm not going to do certain games. We'll be cherry-picking the big games, the more exciting games. But, yeah, we will be... hey, son, it's only 26 in Barca. Water is still cold. But, hey, relax, buddy. So, I like Barcelona, though. I do like Barcelona. Anyway, let's talk transfers. I want to show you, people, Arsenal's striker for next season. For those of you who are listening in and not watching, I'll give you a clue. We signed him from Chelsea. Where's the number 29? And he said his nickname is Donkey. Because let me tell you this. First game of next season, starting through the middle, up front, Kai Havertz. Get it, settled in your mind from now. That's where I'm at. Victor Osimhen, not happening. 110 million, they won't pay it. Gyökeres, they don't want him. Ivan Toney, too much attitude. They Arteta don't want. He can't handle players like that. Sesko, Tesco. He's staying. We're not. If we move for any striker, it'll be some young buck, backup striker, sit on the bench. This is the guy. And I said this at times last season. When this guy was doing well, I said, boy, Arsenal the type of club, they give you something with one hand, they take something away with the other hand. It's like making a lot of money, then realising you got to pay a lot of tax. This is Kai Havertz tax, people. He's Arsenal's striker. Trust me. You called this 3 months ago. I said, Dan, said it. They're going to look at the numbers. 13 goals, half a season. If he plays a full season, that might be 20 goals. Now, listen, I put a tweet out this morning. As you can imagine, they're crying. Oh, but we scored so many goals last season and you're moaning about the striker. Bro, we didn't score as many as Manchester City. So, yeah, good. We scored 89 goals. City scored more. So, we need to score more goals. Reality of the situation is the two best teams in world football right now, Real Madrid and Manchester City, one's got Haaland, one's got Kylian Mbappe. Now, we're not going to get somebody on that level, but we need somebody that can score 20 league goals. Arsenal scored 91 league goals. Man City scored 96. So 91 isn't good enough. That's the reality. We had the best defence in the league last season. 29 goals conceded. Man City conceded 34. But we didn't score as many as them. Haaland missed 7.5 weeks last season through injury and scored 27 league goals. He missed 7.5 weeks. Let's just say, for argument's sake, I didn't check, but let's just say he missed 10 games in that time. How many more goals would Haaland have scored in those 10 games? 8, 9? He scores 35 goals if he plays all them games. The season before, he scored 36 goals. Our top scorer got 16 goals last year. So collectively, yeah, we're scoring a lot of goals. But we don't have the clutch player for the crazy moments. When we watched Man City against Tottenham, when Son missed that big chance, huge game, we're all thinking, if Tottenham can get a draw, this, that, or the other, Haaland scores 2 goals and they win the game. As much as I like Havertz as a player, he's not clutch. The best strikers, not only do they put numbers on the board, they give you clutch moments. They win you big games. And I'm not being horrible to Havertz here. Manchester City, home and away in the league, Havertz didn't score. And he didn't score in the Community Shields. That's 3 games against Manchester City. Didn't score. Liverpool, home and away, didn't score. So that's 5 games against the 2 biggest rivals for the title, right? Porto, home and away, Champions League knockout stage, he didn't score. And Bayern Munich, home and away, Champions League knockout stage, he didn't score. I've just delivered you 9 of the biggest games of the season where Havertz didn't score. Now, I'm not saying he didn't contribute. Got the assist for Martinelli against Man City. He got Konate sent off against Liverpool. But he is not a killer. He's not a gunman striker. He's not going to win you big games in big moments on a regular basis. He will do it occasionally, but he's not that guy, I'm afraid. In my opinion, and listen, I could be completely wrong. We could be sitting here as champions in a year's time. Havertz scored 22 league goals, and I've got it completely wrong. But to me, I don't think he's the answer. I think Arsenal keeping Havertz as number one striker is an absolutely huge risk, an unbelievable risk for Arsenal to do that. I really do, and I hope they don't. I hope they don't. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think in the comments? Havertz being our number one. Let me read out the actual article while you get your comments in. So this is an article from Dean Jones, who's not gospel when it comes to these sorts of things. So I wouldn't take this as actual fact, but, you know, let's just hear what he had to say. So he said, I still think Kai Havertz starts the season as the 9 for Arsenal. And as far as I understand, Xerxes has been made aware of that. And Sesko had been made aware of that as well. He said, if you're a forward and that's where you're heading, you want some sort of guarantee of game time, and Arsenal aren't necessarily giving that to a 9 type of striker. And I've said this so many times. So many times. Why would Sesko reject Arsenal to stay at RB Leipzig? Oh, I'm not ready. I'm staying here for my personal development. Nonsense. Nonsense. Don't buy into that for 1 second. If you're a 21-year-old that's had 1 year in the Bundesliga, right? You've come from Slovenia. You've taken the hard route. You've managed to get into the Bundesliga. You've had 1 year. You're on 50 grand a week. You've got an opportunity to go to Arsenal, who've had back-to-back second places, one of the biggest clubs in Europe. You can easily double or triple your wages. And you say no. That's too risky. What if he gets injured at Leipzig next year? What if he has a bad season? The big move's gone. The reason he didn't go to Arsenal is because he wasn't going to be the number one striker. And he doesn't want to sit on the bench at the age of 21 and be used in rotation for Kai Havertz. You've also still got Gabriel Jesus. So, listen. Havertz, for me, absolute massive, massive risk. Massive risk. I think what Arsenal are trying to do, this is what I think Arsenal are trying to do. And if I get this wrong, cool. Arsenal, in my opinion, are looking for a younger striker that is willing to sit on the bench. If they get it, they'll have him on the bench. They'll keep Jesus as a squad rotation player. He can play on the right for Saka. He can play up front sometimes. They'll sell Eddie and Nketiah, and that's what I think we'll go with. And I don't think that's enough. And I know people will say, look, we scored 90 goals last year. But I think that if you look at Arsenal last season, we had the best defence in the league. What we don't have is the best attack. What I don't think we have in that attack is an absolute game-changing superstar that scares the opposition. You knew when Alexis Sanchez was playing for Arsenal, you're in trouble before the game even starts. When Alexis was playing left wing, I used to look at the right back. I used to sit in the North Bank on that side of the pitch. And Alexis was on that side. And any time I saw the right back, I thought, you're getting cooked today, bro. There's no way you're handling this guy. He's quick, he's skillful, he's direct. He's going to get the better of you. And most of the time, Alexis did get the better of you. Aubameyang wasn't as good in terms of all-round game as Alexis, but there was a period in time where you kind of knew every week Aubameyang was going to score. You knew with Robin van Persie, he's going to score goals every week. There isn't an attacking player in the Arsenal team that I sit there and I think every week he's going to rip you apart. Every time I watch Real Madrid, especially in the Champions League, I say, whoever's right back, Vinicius going to destroy you. And most weeks he does it. Champions League semi-final, he made Kimmich look like, he looked like he couldn't defend. Champions League final, he done the skill of the year. I'm sure most of you have seen that skill that he did. He scored as well. Saka is improving. He's putting up numbers, but he's getting there, but I don't think he's there yet. Martinelli seemed to go backwards last year. Havertz can chip in, but listen, I'm going to get into your comments. I want to know what you guys think. It just feels very typical of Arsenal. We're so close to Manchester City. The defence improved massively. Now you just want that superstar in the attack. And rather than going and breaking the bank and doing it, we're going to make out with what we've got is good enough, you know? And I just think it's clear that it's not, in my opinion. Fitz said, please, Curtis, it's not Arsenal doing this. It is Arteta. That's an interesting point. Is it? Is it Arteta doing this? Are the Kroenkes saying, listen, the money ain't there this summer. You've got to be smarter with what you've got. Because realistically, let's look at it like this. The Kroenkes could look at Arteta and say, right, you want a striker. You've finished the season with Havertz up front who cost 65 million. And you've got Gabriel Jesus on the bench who costs 45 million, they're both on over 200 grand a week. You've also got Eddie who's on 100 grand a week. So they might be saying to him, yo, you can't buy a £100 million striker and have those three at the club. But I hear you, the Havertz loving is obviously coming from him. Big up Dre in the chat, hope you're well. Didn't a war chest story break? Yep, don't buy into that, my friend. I hope we have got a war chest, but Kurt said, shambles, Arsenal, typical. Saka will never be there. Let's give him time. I hope he does. Certain man said Saka is better than Sanchez. Never in a million years. People sleep on Rodrigo. He did more cooking than Vinny. Yeah, maybe over the course of the year. I was thinking the biggest games, Vinny kind of grabbed the spotlight. Havertz is an 80 mil striker. He starts for Germany. And that probably says a lot about football nowadays in terms of strikers. He is the starting striker for Germany. So, listen, if he bangs in a load of goals for Germany and they win the Euros, you know, maybe his value looks even higher. Ian Bryan said, Curtis, I honestly think Kai is going to go levels next season. He needed time to adjust. He has been exceptional. Back him. Listen, anytime he's starting up front, I'll support him. There's no doubt about that. I will. But everything you're saying there is possibility. I still don't look at Havertz as a title-winning striker. Do I think Havertz can score goals in the Arsenal team? Absolutely. He got 13 last season. I think he can score more than that. I still just think at the big moments against the best teams, will he consistently score goals? I'm not sure. Rosh said Jadon Sancho, 40 million. It's funny, you know, we were talking about this yesterday off camera, actually, on the AFTV show. And I said, look, we spoke about Rashford, but I actually said Sancho would probably suit Arteta more than Rashford. Rashford loses the ball a lot. He gambles. Where Sancho is a very good dribbler. He keeps the ball a lot. I think 40 million for Sancho is a bargain. I'm going to be totally honest. I wouldn't be mad if we signed Sancho. Do you know what it is? I don't know if Sancho suits the Prem. I really don't. He might be better off in a league that's a bit more... You know, the Bundesliga defenders play on the halfway line. Still no update on Kevin Campbell, I'm afraid. Nothing. I'll definitely let you all know when I hear anything. Big up my bro Akeem. He said we need a title-winning winger if we keep Kai up top. And I hear you on that. I hear you on that. To me, Arsenal needed to spend big money on an attacking player this summer. 100%. Now, my thought process was always, you got to buy a striker because you got Martinelli and Trossard on the left, Saka on the right, get the striker. If Arsenal decide they're going with Havertz, I don't agree with that. But if they do that, I need to see a monster who plays out wide come to his football club, in my opinion. But then, let's say they're not going to sign a top quality right winger because you've got Saka, which is why we're not going in for Elise. Chelsea have offered for Elise. Even Newcastle are trying to get Elise. I don't think we'll spend big money on a right winger because of Saka. Then if you spend big money on a left winger, let's say we went for, Liao or, I don't know, somebody of that sort of ilk on the left. What do you do with Martinelli? What do you do with Trossard? I don't see how Arsenal could carry 3 left wingers in the Arsenal team all on over 100 grand a week. So I don't know. I'm confused with Arsenal at the moment. I don't see what direction that we go in this attack. South London's finally said, go get Kudus. Apparently has a release clause of 85 million. I mean, the crazy thing is we could have maybe got him last season for 35 million. Kudus is a very good player. He's very direct, very quick. Zach said the hate for Saka in this fan base is actually cringe. And listen, I've defended Saka a lot of times on this channel because I always say if we're going to criticise Saka, he should be last to be criticised. And the reason I say that is because what's Martinelli done at Arsenal last season? And people like me were saying Martinelli's ceiling could be higher than Saka's. Last season, he looked like he went backwards. Saka, to be fair, for a 22-year-old, his numbers have improved year after year. Maybe his performances weren't as good last season as the year before, but that guy stood up and been countered at Arsenal. I know people criticise him, he's limping and maybe he needs to get a bit tougher or whatever, however you view it. But just as an example, Saka's last 4 seasons, 32 games, 38 games, 38 games, 35 games. The guy plays nearly every week. 5 Premier League goals, 11 Premier League goals, 14 Premier League goals, 16 Premier League goals. Saka, whether we like it or not, whether we understand how good he is, whether he's the most exciting of players, Saka is probably the biggest star in the Arsenal team in terms of the attack. He's the guy in our attack, people. That's the reality of the situation. I mean, Aman said 6 pens, 10 goals from open play with Odegaard's support, but he's done Arsenal's attack last season. The letdown of the attack was not Saka. Saka did his job. I'm a winger. I'm 22. I've scored 16 goals. I've got 9 assists. He's contributed 25 goals in the league. 25 league goals. He's played in the Champions League for the first time ever. 9 games, 4 goals, 4 assists. 8 goals contributed. That's 33 goal contribution in League and Champions League. And there's Arsenal fans slandering him. He's not the most exciting. I'll be real. He's nowhere near as exciting as Alexis Sanchez, but we don't have Alexis Sanchez. So we kind of have to move on and go, I'm looking at Gabriel Jesus, bro. I got to go for... I'm looking at Gabriel Jesus. We signed you from Man City, 4 titles, Brazilian international, £45 million. What the hell's that guy done for Arsenal? He scored 4 goals last season, doing interviews saying scoring goals ain't my strength. What's Jesus done in an Arsenal shirt? I'd have no problem Jesus being sold, by the way. Havertz, first half of the season. Let's keep it a buck. Second half of the season, Havertz did well. First half of the season, absolutely dreadful, right? And then you look at Martinelli, who I thought was a superstar at Arsenal. He's been dreadful this season. Absolutely dreadful. Done nothing. Scored about 5 goals. Awful season. Trossard, clutch player, but at times we called him Stella R. Trossard. So to me, if we're not going to protect Saka and he's our player, that concerns me. And people will go, yeah, but you're critical, because I am critical. I'm critical of Arteta. I criticise Havertz. I've criticised a lot of players in this team. And I have criticised Saka. We've also got to look at it and say, listen, man, Saka's our boy. Saka's producing. Maybe he's not the most exciting, but he's not the problem. Saka is not the problem in this Arsenal attack. The left wing's a problem and the striker is a problem. If you've got a better striker, that takes responsibility away from Saka. Saka probably looks an even better player. We had Eddie and Nketiah up front. We had Trossard up front. We had Havertz up front. We had Jesus up front. You can't build partnerships when the guy you're playing next to changes every week. So I don't look at Saka with any type of concern. He's improving every season in terms of numbers, and I think he's on the way. He's 22. He's 22. So I'm looking more at the left winger and the striker. And I get it. I do get it. Listen, I'm not totally oblivious to what people are saying. People are saying, Saka, penalties and performances aren't as good, but he's still produced even without playing at his best. And he's 22. It's a lot of maturity, in my opinion. Saka is a foundational piece like Rice. He won't excite you, but he will make you better and contribute and be solid every 100%. Why does Saka get kicked all the time? Because other teams see Saka as the danger man. It's as simple as that. They look at Arsenal's attack and they're saying, stop Saka, stop him, kick him, pull him down, double up on him. Now, what that should do is, if they're doubling up on Saka, Martinelli should be going to work on the other side. But he's not. He's running with his head down and running into the corner flag. All the strikers should be scoring goals, but Jesus is in midfield, Havertz floating around attacking space. So Saka's not the problem. He's not the problem, trust me. The other two positions have to do the business. That's my opinion. Jeezy said Saka's done more for us than anyone in the team. 100%, bro. 100%. That attack is still not flourishing. It's still not flourishing. You need a front three. Takes away the responsibility off people. Martinelli has zero support. He does. He does. And I've said that loads of times, man. I've said, listen, left wing for Arsenal is difficult. You got your left backs inverting. Your centre mid doesn't even really help you. But let's be honest. The year before, Martinelli was cooking. Now, he had a little bit more help from Xhaka. Not necessarily Zinchenko because he was still inverting. But something this season's been fundamentally wrong with Martinelli. Maybe it's the two injuries. He pulled his hamstring at Everton and he got that bad cut on his foot against Sheffield United. And I think that was worse than they said. I think Xhaka was a huge help for Martinelli. I also think Gabriel Jesus was a huge help for Martinelli. One thing I will praise Jesus for is a very good link-up striker. And I think the fact we've changed strikers so many times also hasn't helped Martinelli. But he still needs to do more himself. That's me being real. Trossard has done great. We're a lopsided team. Most of our attacks come from the right. We are. We definitely are. Leahy said, I think the over-the-top criticism by our fans is that some of this fan base do not rate these players at all. They always have to find a scapegoat. Yeah, listen, like, I'm the first person to say I want more from Saka, right? I am. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's perfect. It's not. Saka can do, I think Saka needs to add a bit of a different dimension to his game. Be a little bit more unpredictable, a bit more skillful. With the limping thing, listen, I'm aware of the fact that he gets kicked a lot, but I think he has to kind of... He does get targeted, but that comes with being a quality player. Alexis used to get kicked. Hazard used to get kicked. Robin used to get kicked. Ronaldo used to get... I think it comes with the territory. You've kind of got to learn to deal with it and embrace it. But I just still think he puts in an amazing shift defensively, helps Ben White, scores goals. He's improving year after year in terms of numbers. Leroy Sané, dude riptide. Now, Sané is, he is... very, very exciting. I would love Arsenal to sign Sané, but it's not going to happen, is it? It's not. But yeah, as I said, I know we've gone on there about Saka a little bit. But it's always an interesting discussion because he does get criticised a lot. But it is what it is, I suppose. Maybe people expect more of him, which is fair enough. But it looks as if Havertz could be our starting striker next season. The stories that are being fed to the press now, I kind of think they'd... Arsenal are doing one of two things. They're either feeding out these stories so that when they do go for strikers, they make out like they're not desperate to try and get the price lowered. Or they're kind of saying, we've looked at the market, we didn't get Sesko, we're not going to pay the Osimhen fee. We're going to stick with Havertz as the 9 with Jesus as the backup. And I think they're trying to let the fan base know, don't be surprised if this happens. Now, me, I don't agree with it. I'll be real. I don't agree with it. I don't think Kai Havertz wins you the title playing up front for 38 games. I don't. I think he can get numbers. I think he's a good link-up striker. But when you're competing with Haaland and Man City, I don't think it's enough. Haaland scored 27 goals last season in the league, and he missed 7.5 weeks. He scored 36 goals the year before. So, to compete with those numbers, I think you need a more prolific striker, but we'll see what happens. It would be a big risk. It would be a very big risk. Let me bring you... In fact, let me read these super chats, then we'll move on to the next part of the striker tour. Big Up Latte said, if it's him, we are not winning nothing next year. It's a massive risk to go with Havertz. And also, what do you do? What happens if Havertz gets injured? You're back to Gabriel Jesus. You're back to Eddie Nketiah unless you sell him. So, yeah, I don't know. Going into Havertz, as the striker doesn't give me optimism that we win the league. I don't know. Maybe if we signed a world-class winger who scores loads of goals on the left and then Saka's scoring goals but that might change it, but I'm not sure. Brian said it is clear that Arsenal are not going to spend big money on a forward. Are there any value forwards that you want at Arsenal? I mean, listen, I spoke about it yesterday on the show, and some people don't agree, and that's fine, as I said. I look at the striker market now. If we're being realistic, Isak is the one I would want, but as I keep saying, you'd have to blow up the transfer market. That might require 120 million. Now, some people are saying, no, it'll be more. It might cost 140, 150. But I think if Arsenal made 120 million offer, you're asking a serious question of Newcastle. They do have rich owners, but they've got financial fair play issues. They would have meetings inside their football club if Arsenal offered 100 to 120 million. Also, you would hope that Isak would then push for a move and maybe put a transfer request in and force the move a little bit. However, you could offer the money Newcastle, say, no, that's fine, you walk away. I'm then looking at Osimhen. I think Osimhen would score goals at Arsenal. I'm not totally convinced by him. I don't think he's a £110 million player, but I do think he would bag goals at Arsenal. Would I pay 110 million for Osimhen? I'm not sure I would. I'm not sure he's that good to pay that kind of money. But Arsenal clearly like him. They've met his agent. They're talking to Napoli, so they are interested. So to me, Ivan Toney at 50, 60 million is a no-brainer. Now, a lot of people think he's washed. Oh, he had a poor 6 months. He's washed. The guy scored 20 league goals in his last full season for Brentford, who are a relegation-threatened team. I think you put him in the Arsenal team, create more chances. I think he scores more goals. He's strong, he's physical, he's good in the air, he's clinical in front of goal, brilliant at penalties. I think he would take some of the pressure away from Saka and Martinelli because of his aggression. I just don't think Arteta will go for his character. I think he's scared of players like that. So you've got Isak, you've got Toney, you've got Osimhen, you've got Gyökeres. Gyökeres, 85 million release clause. He's just had a knee injury. I don't think it's a long-term one, but he's had this knee injury at the end of the season. And it seems like clubs are not willing to pay that release clause because the problem you've got, if you look at the blueprint, Darwin Núñez was in Portugal, banging goals, 70 million to Liverpool, hasn't done the business. So maybe people are scared to sign Gyökeres because of what happened with Darwin Núñez in Portugal. You're then looking at the likes of Dovbyk, who I think is a decent striker, and you're then going down the list. I mean, people talking about Solanke, but I don't want Solanke anywhere near Arsenal. So it's a difficult one. You've got to figure out who the right answer is, and, people in the comments, let me know what you think. What would be the striker that you would go for out of those mentioned, or is there someone else? But big up Brian with the super chat. Sam said, Blessy, Chelsea 11th, sign Kai, West Ham 14th, sign Rice, Trossard fallout, sign him, Peck makes Jesus cry, then we sign him. What are your thoughts on this strategy? We shouldn't for something to go wrong before we sign a player. Now, I understand the point you're saying there. And I said this the other day about Edu. Edu's got to do two things for me. Number one, sell players for decent money. Number two, can you pull a top player out of a club where it appears that he's comfortable? That's what the best sporting directors do in the world. It doesn't always have to be, he's got a release clause, we'll get him. The club are actively willing to sell him, we'll get him. I want to see Edu sign a player to Arsenal that people think isn't available, that has time left on his contract, that you get him out of the club because of who we are. Now, people say we can't get Isak. And listen, the owners might just sit there and say we're rich and we're not selling him and he's got 3-4 years left on his contract. But I look at it and I think, if Arsenal go for Isak, why would Isak not want to join Arsenal? He's on 100 grand a week at Newcastle. We'll double that. We'll give you 250 even. We can give you more. We can pay 100 million plus. You can wear the 14 shirt at Arsenal. Your profile goes through the roof. That's what I want to see Arsenal do. 2 years ago, we couldn't get Vlahovic because we didn't have the status. Yes, we had the history, but we didn't have the status. You're not in the Champions League. Your manager situation looks dodgy. Fans aren't sure whether they want him. Blah, blah, blah. Now we're second. We've got money. We're playing good football. We've got stability. Arsenal should be able to go to Newcastle and say, yo, forget all that talk about, come here, you're signing for us, bro. There's the money. Test these clubs. As Nick's saying, test them. People saying, oh, you can't get Isak from Newcastle. We'll never know unless we make an offer and put pressure on them. I remember Southampton. Yeah, no, mate. Van Dijk's not for sale at any price. 75 million? Yeah, you can have him. They couldn't say no. They knew once Liverpool offered 75 million, it's too much money. Southampton can't say no. Van Dijk's going crazy. I want to go to Liverpool. I don't want to train, all of that. You have got to put pressure on these clubs to get their best players out of the door. But listen, let me know what you guys think. What striker do you think we should go for? There are some people saying we can't get Isak, but I think we should be trying to get him. Put pressure on Newcastle, make a big offer. If we don't get him, who would you go for? Gavin said, Edu ain't selling, that's the problem, we can't spend. It's interesting, isn't it? We haven't sold one player yet, and I was looking at it online. Arsenal over the next few days apparently will announce David Raya as a permanent deal, right? Obviously, psychologically, we already think about David Raya as being an Arsenal player, but effectively, once that deal is completed in the next few days, Arsenal will be on minus 27 million for this summer window. We've paid 30 million for David Raya, but we only paid 3 million initially last summer. So we owe Brentford 27 million. So when that deal's completed in the next few days, unless we sell somebody quickly, which isn't going to happen, Arsenal will be on minus 27 million. So we need to sell 7 or 8 players, in my opinion, this summer. We haven't sold one yet. So he's under a lot of pressure, Edu. Jerome said, big up Big C in the community. Arsenal preparing us for the news that we will spend big on a world-class centre-forward next summer. That'll be the talk. That's what they'll try and do. Balance. You know, when a deal doesn't happen at Arsenal, they feed another story out to try and calm us down quickly, you know. Cooper, thank you for the super sticker, bro. Really appreciate that. They'll start linking us to Isak next year. Oh, we're going to go for Isak and spend big money on him, but it'll be next season. Crazy, crazy. But we'll see. We'll see. Listen, this could all be a smart plan of Arsenal. Pretending we don't have money, pretending we don't want a striker, because we're actually going to go big on a striker, but we don't want to appear desperate. I just don't know if Arsenal are clever enough to do that in the market. Let me just finish off some of this striker talk by talking about Ivan Toney. Barry said, how about Garassi? One good season. Stuttgart, I'm not sure. He's being linked with AC Milan, I think, as well. But we'll see. Charles Watts on his YouTube channel. This was from Team News and Tickets. This was interesting, man. And am I surprised to read this? No, but Charles Watts was speaking on his YouTube channel about Ivan Toney. And remember, and listen, I've met Charles Watts. He seemed all right when I spoke to him, but he's also a mouthpiece of the football club. Everything he said is going to protect the football club. He's brought out a book talking about Arteta's revolution. So is this guy ever going to be critical of Arteta or Arsenal Football Club? No. He was bigging up Sesko when Arsenal were linked with him. The moment he didn't sign for us, he's defending it, saying, yeah, it makes sense for him to stay and he's going to develop help. But for the last 2 weeks, you've been telling us how good he is and why Arsenal want to sign him. So what this guy says is very polluted, I would say. You know, he's probably being told to say this by the football club. But anyway, this is what he said on Arsenal links, on why links to Ivan Toney have gone quiet. He said they don't like him. They met him and didn't like him. I mean, what do you say about that? That's crazy. How does he feel comfortable enough to even use that kind of language? They don't like him. So how do you know they don't like him? Are they telling you they don't like him? Or are you saying this so that the top gooners will say, oh, yeah, but Charles Watts says Arsenal don't like him. So he says they don't like him. Here we go. Let's read the rest of it. Oh, I met him at a kit launch, Arsenal kit launch, and he was there, and he's going, oh, I've seen your YouTube channel. I think, bro, come on. I don't think you will like my YouTube channel, bro, because you cap. We might as well call him Kappa. Remember the old school brand, Kappa? Kappa Watts, bro. Like, but anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. He said when he signed with his agency in August last year, they said, what do you want? He said to get back playing, get back in the England squad and move to a big club, preferably Arsenal. He saw himself fitting in as the 9. He thought he would get tons of goals and he thought he'd suit the system. They met him and they purely didn't like him. Not only did they not like him, it was pure, people. Are you hearing this? It was pure dislike. They purely didn't like him. With Toney, there's just stacks of evidence of a personality that you'd imagine Arteta didn't want around the squad. Now, I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest here, people, which is all you get on this channel. Other channels are available, people, and you can find them. They are there. I think this is disgraceful what this guy is saying, by the way. It's disgraceful. This is really, really poor journalism. And you might think, oh, Kurt's only getting triggered because he wants Ivan Toney at Arsenal. I think this is a disgrace what this guy's saying, by the way. Now, let me get one thing clear here. Kappa Watts, we're calling him. You either know or you don't. If you know, then talk about it. If you don't, then speculate. The man's saying, let's break down this article. This guy's got over, I don't know how many followers this guy's got. How many followers has Charles Watts got? I think he's got 500,000 followers, which is crazy. So people believe what this guy says, by the way. He's comfortably saying they don't like him. They met him, they didn't like him. They met him, they purely didn't like him. He then goes on to say there's stacks of evidence of a personality you'd imagine Arteta didn't want around the squad. So are you guessing or are you telling us a fact? If it's a fact and they've told you we don't like him, no problem. No problem. I don't have any problem with that. If they've told you that and you're reporting it, no problem. But how can you say you'd imagine Arteta didn't want him around the squad? But you're saying they purely didn't like him. It's outrageous. Let's break down what he said, by the way. This is unbelievable. When he signed with his agency last August, because he changed agency, right? They said, what do you want? He said to get back playing. Remember he said they met him and didn't like him. What did he say? I want to get back playing. Fair enough. You've been banned for 6 months. I want to get back in the England squad. Great. Ambition. You want to play for your country. I want to move to a big club. Brilliant. Preferably Arsenal. He wants to play for our football club. Ain't that great? It's better than Vlahovic leaving us on 2 blue ticks on WhatsApp. He saw himself fitting in as the 9. Good. He thought he would get tons of goals and he thought he'd suit the system. I mean, I don't know if I'm going crazy here, people. But ain't that what you would want from your striker? I want you to fit in the system. I want you to... I don't get it. I don't get that. Everything he says there is what I would want the striker to say. I fit in your system. I want to play for your team. I want to get back in the England squad. And I want to score goals. I think I can score loads of goals playing for you. I don't get it. I don't get it. But listen, here's what it is. These journalists are compromised at times. You're trying to get into the press conference every week, trying to build relationships with players, with the manager. What they're going to do is defend the club, which is why I always say there's only certain channels that I will actually watch and take interest in. Because some of them, they're doing it with a hand behind their back. Because on one hand, they're trying to get things off the club. So they will never criticise the club. They will never criticise the club. So, you know, that's the difficulty. That's the difficulty. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy, you know. And listen, I think we can all see from the outside that Toney and Arteta is probably not a mix you would expect, but the math ain't mathing. You all right here, Curtis? This journalist is talking rubbish. Arteta purely likes the way Eddie trains. Lewis Openda, 24 goals, versatile. He only signed last year, though, so it might be difficult to get him out. Let's be honest, though. Toney had one good season. They didn't like him because he isn't good enough. Is Sesko good enough? First question I would ask you, Musa. Was Sesko good enough? How many good seasons has Sesko had? Scored 14 goals in the Bundesliga. We're going to pay 55 million for him. Most of our fans were willing to sign him. Why? Why? What had he done? So every striker that we're pretty much interested in at the moment, Isak's had one brilliant season in the Prem, going to cost over 100 mil. Osimhen's had one brilliant season in Italy, going to cost over 100 mil. Gyökeres had one good season in Portugal, 85 mil. Ivan Toney's had one great season in the Prem, 60 mil. We can do it with all of them. We can do it with all of them. And people saying, yeah, Sesko's 20, but I would argue that Sesko would take longer to settle in at Arsenal and score goals than Ivan Toney would. He's never played in this league. He's never scored over 20 goals in a season. Who's to say he would even be a hit in this country? My thought, and I get it. People are saying, look, Sesko's 2021, Toney's 28. I get that. All that is long term. I'm not thinking long term. At the moment, as an Arsenal fan, I'm not that bothered about the long term. I want to deal with the here and now. I want to know, can you win us the league next season? Can you score 20 league goals next season for Arsenal? Now, maybe in 2 years' time, Sesko's a brilliant striker. But I don't think Sesko would have come to Arsenal and just ripped up in the first year. He didn't even have the belief to come in. He said, look, every Arsenal fan should be saying, yo, listen, you got to deliver this season, bro. 6th season at the club, 3rd title challenge. I don't want to see a striker coming in as a project and you're telling me in 2-3 years this guy's going to be a hit record. I want someone to come in and do it now. Apparently part of that article was from Team News and Tickets and part of it was from Charles Watts. So, yeah, forgive me for some of it if he didn't say all of it. So, reading here, the first bit was from Team News and Tickets. The second bit was from Charles Watts, apparently. So part of the article was from Charles Watts. Part of it was from Team News and Tickets. There you go. But still, all 3 of them paragraphs were just pure cap. Team News and Tickets apparently said the first bit. When they met him, they didn't like him. But then Charles Watts apparently said the bit where you'd imagine Arteta didn't want that kind of personality around the squad, which is total guesswork. Total guesswork. But, hey, it is what it is. Long term is 6 years. 100%. Bro, 6 years. 6 years at a big football club is a long time to rebuild. It's a long time. Arteta has better energy, can't handle alpha players. He hasn't signed anyone like that, really, has he? And listen, I've said this all the time. Someone just said there, you're capping for Toney. Listen, I've said all the time, Isak's the one that I want. But Arsenal aren't going to pay the money. They're not going to show that level of ambition. So you've then got to go down the list and eliminate who we're going to go for. If they're not going to spend 120 on Isak, they're not going to spend 110 on Osimhen. Are they going to spend 85 on Gyökeres, who's had one good year in Portugal? You're then sort of trickling down the ladder. I almost get to Ivan Toney by process of elimination. He's not top of my list by any stretch of the imagination. I'm trying to work how Arsenal would operate. I don't see Arsenal spending 100 million on a player this summer. I just don't. Charles Watson, Arteta is John Cross and Wenger, yeah? Yeah, that's how it used to work. John Cross was very much the mouthpiece of Arsenal. Cooper said, would you take Ivan Toney, Rashford and Youssef Fofana? Absolutely 100% I would take that, bro. Texas Cannons, isn't ITK? He repeats what he hears. Yeah. Sam said, Eddie, etc. might be here next season. Sorry to say, but no club with a brain give them their Arsenal wage. Another trademark Edu termination on the way. It's crazy, isn't it, that I saw a thing that Luis Diaz at Liverpool is on £70,000 a week. Luis Diaz. Colombia, 27 years of age, played for Porto, 70 grand. In fact, I'm lying. I'm actually lying. He's on 55 grand a week. He was on 20,000 euros at Porto, which is around 15 grand. He's on 55 grand a week. Now, when I put that into context, Luis Diaz starts left wing for Colombia and for Liverpool. He's on 55 grand a week. Cedric, who we've just released, was on 70 grand a week. Eddie Nketiah is on £100,000 a week. Reece Nelson, who hardly ever kicks a ball for us, is on £100,000 a week. I'll give you another example. Aaron Ramsdale, £120,000 a week. Was signed from Sheffield United, where he was on £30,000 a week. Came to Arsenal, 60 grand a week. New contract, 120 grand a week. That runs for another 4 years, by the way. Ederson, 6-time Premier League winner, £100,000 a week. Do the maths. The maths ain't mathing, people. We've got to stop handing out silly contracts to these players. Kobbie Mainoo, England squad, 18, young superstar. Man United have just offered him 60 grand a week to sign a new deal. Had a great season in the England squad, 18 years of age, massive future, 60 grand. Reece Nelson, been at the club for years, done nothing, failed loan moves, 100 grand a week. Why? This is why these guys don't want to leave. Because they ain't going to get that. Eddie ain't getting 100 grand. Nelson ain't getting 100 grand. Well, Eddie might actually as a striker if he got a Palace move or something. But Reece Nelson's never touching 100 grand a week after he leaves this football club. And you got a man like Luis Diaz picking up 55 grand a week. So we have to figure out those contracts and start offering these people less money. Big up Julio, who's a new member. Member stream on Monday, people. Make sure you're locked in for that. Make sure you're locked in for that, people. Lots to talk about. Anyway, we've waffled on about strikers enough. We're probably not buying one. I've spent 45 minutes talking about striker. We probably won't buy one anyway. But anyway, let's look at some players that we are being linked with. And a player we're being linked with today, people, is Nico Williams. Arsenal are planning to make a move for Nico Williams this month. After following his development for some time, sources have told Caught Offside Arsenal's interest in Williams, who has a €50 million release clause in his contract, is being driven by Mikel Arteta. We've got super... No, I can't sing it. I can't do it. Nico Williams, Spanish international, going to the Euros, younger brother of Inaki Williams. 21 years of age, 5 goals, 11 assists in 31 games. He's in the Spanish squad. He's rapid. I think he's a very raw talent. He's raw. Am I convinced with him? I'm probably not. I'm probably not fully convinced by him, if I'm being totally honest. He's rapid. And I am a pace merchant. EAFC, my whole front three, they're all like 90 plus pace. And I still put Hunter cards on him. He's lightning quick. 5'11", great dribbling, lots of flair. What I like about him, if I'm being totally honest, he's one of them players that can like take out 2 or 3 players in no time. Like, he goes past players very easily. The one thing I don't love about him is the end product. And listen, again, I'm not going to sit here and say I've been watching this guy for years. I haven't. he offers something to Arsenal that we don't have. That's direct running and dribbling ability. The problem with him is the end product is not amazing. From what I've seen of him, and I could be wrong. Anyone who watches him more, feel free to go in the comments and give me a rundown of him. I mean, is this right? This saying here, Nico Williams on 170 grand a week, that can't be true, surely. Surely. How is he picking up that much dough? Yeah, £170,000 a week. That is outrageous. 200,000 euros a week he's on. That is crazy. How is he on a contract like that? That doesn't make no sense. He must be their star player. But what do you guys make? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, to me, he's one of them YouTube players. You watch his highlights, you'll be desperate to sign him. But when I've watched a few live games of him, he's very inconsistent. He's brilliant at running at people, but the end product is wild at times. Good player, says Enes. J Dime said he can play on both wings. Lawrence says Brahim Diaz is better. Good dribbler. Good technically. South London's finest said hell no. Amo said with that contract he will leave. Bilbao doesn't spend money on transfers. Players from that region. All the money goes into wages. Fair enough. He's the king of the Basque region, says Salman. They've been taking tips off Edu. Have you seen the new Bellingham Adidas advert? I had a part to play in it. No. I'll have a look, man. Big up, man. I'll have a look at that. He's on that wage because Bilbao don't sign players. I hear you. 16 goals, assists in the league is not bad for his age. And this is what I'm saying, though. And I hate to go back. I know I waffled about Saka for 5 minutes. People are saying 16 goals, assists is not bad for a guy of his age, Nico Williams, who's 21, by the way. Turns 22 next month. Same age as Saka. Saka got 25 goal contributions and people are slandering him. And this is what I'm saying. If we signed a player with Saka's numbers, we'd be going, oh my God, break the bank to bring him to the club. 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 goal contribution. He got sent off once as well. Not sure why. Yeah, for me, I'm not fully convinced by him. I'm gonna stand my ground. Some of you are hyping me a bit then with the comments. And like I said, he is one of them players. You type his name in on YouTube and watch a 3-minute highlights, you're gonna get excited. He's quick and he can dribble. He goes past defenders easily. I'm just not sure about his end product. But if we get him, I'll hype him because that's how shameless we are as fans. I'm on the Rashford hype train, says Ammo. No, I don't think we're getting Rashford. Darryl said he'll be better than his older brother. He was linked with big moves at one stage, wasn't he, Inaki Williams? They talk about 100 million. Story said Rashford needs a new club. He would shine for you guys. Just get Elise. Looks like he's going Chelsea. Leigh said this is where the scouts have to do the job. The guy is left-legged, has a very good right leg. He will go Barcelona. A lot of people saying he could be going to Barcelona. Nick said he's got potential, no doubt, but on those wages. I can't believe he's on that much wage at that age. But like you said, Basque region, maybe because they're cheap to get. Here we go again, Big C, writing players off again. Watched him over 20 times. He's gone, and same play style as Dembele. People need to watch her for. Listen, I'll be honest. I said at the start, I haven't watched him play loads. Seen him play a couple of times for Spain, a couple of times for Bilbao when they've played their big teams. I don't know. It's just the end product for me. Just the end product. But listen, he's definitely got potential. But is that what we need at the moment? Do we need a winger that is still figuring out how to put those numbers on the board? Or do we need somebody that's already putting those numbers on the board? I'd rather go and get, what's his name, Kvara from Napoli or somebody like that. But here's what it is. Listen, it seems like a doable deal. 50 million release clause is not going to break the bank. He would want big wages because the tax in England is higher than Spain. So you're going to have to give him 200 grand a week plus. But it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal went for someone like that. And Edu loves a release clause. Andrew said we need proven quality. Junior said I would prefer Kudus. Sebedy, always potential projects next season. Gundogan said Eze. I'm a big fan of Eze. Sir Fester said Curtis, the guy is rapid. He's definitely... No, listen, the pace is exciting. I like the pace. He's rapid. Quasar said full game of him. He is legit just average for his age, not the finished product. Not better than Nelly, Trossard or Saka. Why should we go for him? He's all right at best. It's a tough assessment of him. Rooftop said, nah. Arsenal is not that complicated to do 100 million on Isak, 90 million on 2 centre mids, 40 million on a winger, 20 million on a keeper, 250 to try and gain 130 from selling 5 or 6 players. Net spend 250, take away 130 equals 120. There we go. There's your maths lesson. Listen, selling players for 130 million with Edu in charge, bring that way down, bro. Bring that down. The players we think we're going to get 30, 40 million for, that turn that to 20 million. And the players we think we'll get 15 for, turn that into 6 or 7 million. And the players worth 10 million will get about 2 million. And we'll probably pay some of them to leave. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I wouldn't get too caught up in those. Edu making 130 million this summer would be a miracle. It would be an absolute miracle. And I don't see it happening, unfortunately. So, yeah, bring those numbers down a little bit. But, yeah, Nico Williams. Big up to those of you in the chat. Some of you seem excited by him because he's quick, he's direct, he's young. It seems as if the ceiling, is high for him in terms of potential. But he's nowhere near the finished article. He definitely would be classed as a diamond in the rough, if anything. And final transfer story when it comes to Arsenal. He forgot the decimal point. Yeah, we get about 13 million instead. Thomas Partey, people. And this is heating up a little bit today. And I don't know how I feel about this one. And we did buy, sell, loan the other day. And I said I would keep Thomas Partey unless he went to Saudi for big money. But is this big money? I suppose Arsenal would view this as decent money at this stage because of the injuries, but Thomas Partey is apparently closing in on a move to Saudi Arabia. The source is Football Insider, which is not a great source, by the way. Arsenal are believed to have set an asking price of 20 to 25 million, which to me, if a Saudi club comes in for Thomas Partey, I am not asking for 20 million when you look at the amount of money that Saudi clubs have got. I would overprice them. As a move to the Saudi Pro League now looks to be on the cards. Listen, I think with the Saudis having so much money, I would have been asking for 40 million, not 20 million. But if the Saudis make an offer and Arsenal accept it, then it is what it is. Listen, I said on the buy, sell, loan that I would keep him unless we got a big offer from Saudi. My big offer in my head was like 35, 40, 50 million. 20 million is still rubbish business when you look at the amount of money that the Saudis have paid for players over the past 2 years. I think it's a ridiculous deal. However, I think Arsenal want him out the door. To be honest, I felt it for a little while. I think they wanted to sell him last summer. Apparently last summer, Partey was saying, I don't want to go to Saudi. I still want to play in a top division. He was being linked with Juventus, but they didn't have the money. Juventus have just about to complete a deal for Douglas Luiz, which is a player, again, we've been linked with. Will Partey go to Saudi this year? Maybe he will. He can go there, get a massive contract, live a nice life. I've said it before and I've said it again. If Partey leaves, we need 2 centre mids. Make no mistake about that. And again, will Arsenal buy 2 centre mids? I don't know. Sell Partey for 25 million to Saudi and buy Fofana from Monaco for 20 million. And then for me, you've still got to go and buy another midfielder, because if you get rid of Partey and sign a midfielder, let's just say for argument's sake you sign Fofana, you've got Declan Rice, Fofana and Jorginho. That's it. 3 centre mids for 4 competitions. That's not going to work. One injury to Rice or Fofana and Jorginho's starting for you every week. That is not going to win you a Premier League title. Jorginho should be the 4th choice centre midfielder. It should be Rice, new centre mid, another new centre mid, Jorginho, if Partey was to leave. So selling Partey and buying 1 centre mid would concern me massively. having 3 centre mids, and that third centre mid is Jorginho. That would be risky business. And I said this when Jorginho get a new contract. You watch, they'll keep Jorginho and sell Partey and bring in 1 centre mid. So listen, if Partey goes, I need 2 centre mids. I need 2 of them. Don't mess about. Midfield is the engine room of a team. You can't mess about. So I think they're trying to get rid of him. And on the US tour in America last year, all the conversation I was hearing from people around Arsenal and some people who work there were like, look, man, if they get a good offer for Partey, they're willing to let him go. Casemiro would go for 50 million plus. Probably would. So bad at selling players, man. So bad. Partey has a good reputation, footballing reputation. The guy's played for Arsenal, for Atletico. He's a big name defensive midfielder. We should be saying to a Saudi club, yeah, man, £40 million. 20 million for Partey. Oh, frustrating, but I think Arsenal will sell him if they get a good offer. The only other thing, like I said, I spoke to somebody well connected to him at the end of the season, and he said Partey's going nowhere. He said Partey wants to see out his contract and go on a free next summer. He loves it in London, just got married, just had a kid. He doesn't want to leave. So Partey can, say, listen, I don't care what the Saudis say. I'm not going. And Arsenal will have to keep him. So let's see. And finally, listen, last couple of minutes, just to round up. It is the Euros. We do start tonight. I am doing a watch-along. Germany against Scotland. Kai Havertz against Kieran Tierney. What are your guys' thoughts? For me, there's 4 teams that I think... I'd say maybe even 3 teams that I think are the clear favourites. I would say France, Portugal and Germany. England are in the mix, but I just don't think they win the Euros with that defence and with Gareth Southgate. He wants to play Foden left wing. He's not a left winger. He's playing Trippier at left back. He'll get cooked. Mark Gay next to John Stones. That doesn't work. You've got Anthony Gordon as your only natural left winger. Not for me. England have got some fantastic individuals. Kane, Bellingham, Foden, Rice. But collectively, Saka as well. I don't think that team wins the Euros. Portugal have an unbelievable squad. If you go through that Portugal squad, their strength in depth is insane. Leao, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Jota, Cristiano Ronaldo, João Paulinho, João Neves, Nuno Mendes, Cancelo, Ruben Diaz. Their team is unbelievable. The only thing with Portugal, Ronaldo, 38, 39. I actually put a tweet out earlier, and I've tipped Ronaldo to win the Golden Boot because I think Portugal will smash that group apart. Georgia, Turkey, and Czech Republic. I think Ronaldo could come out of that group with 4 or 5 goals. And yeah, João Felix as well. So I've tipped Ronaldo. I've played it safe, maybe a little bit boring. I've gone with the French. It's almost so obvious that people don't want to pick them. I still look at it and think Mbappe, Deschamps always does well in tournaments. There's stories coming out now, they're changing their mind on Saliba. Don't know if anybody watched France the other night, but Saliba had a brilliant game against Canada. A far better game than Upamecano. Finally, Deschamps has realised what we've all realised is that Saliba is 10 times better than Upamecano. If France play Saliba and Konate, with Theo Hernandez at left back, I don't know who they play right back, maybe Pavard. I think they're a very, very good team. N'Golo Kante's in the squad as well, which I think is smart. Germany at home. Tony Kroos out of retirement. Florian Wirtz, Musiala, Leroy Sané, Havertz, Rudiger, Neuer, Kimmich. You do not really want to be playing the Germans. They have got some fantastic players and they've got the home support. I think they'll get through that group quite easily. As I said, you can never write off the French. Saliba and Konate at the back, Mbappe, Dembele, Camavinga, Tchouameni, they're always going to be difficult. And then, yeah, like I said, Portugal, man, they got so much strength in depth. And Ronaldo, I think he's the record goal scorer of all time in the Euros. So wouldn't surprise me if they're up there. England, I just don't think Southgate has the tactics or the tactical nous. playing Kieran Trippier at left back, sticking Phil Foden on the left. It just, I don't know about all that. I think England are actually going to have a tough group. England have got Serbia on Sunday. I looked at the Serbia team. Vlahovic, Mitrovic, Milinkovic-Savic. That is a tough first game for England. Trust me. Some people saying Italy. I actually tipped Italy as the disappointment of the tournament, or whatever they called it. Biggest underachievers. I'm not sure about Italy. I think Croatia, Italy, one of them might struggle to get out of the group, although third place does get you through. I think some of the third place playoffs. Some of the best place third place teams get through. Belgium, I think they'll probably get through the group. Holland have got some good players. They always seem to find a way. I watched Holland the other night, man. Their defence looks solid. Van Dijk, Nathan Ake, they look decent. So it's going to be a tough tournament. Group B, people saying that's the hardest group. Yeah, Spain, Croatia and Italy. Croatia always do well, don't they, in tournaments? But they are getting a bit old now, so we'll have to see. I will be live tonight, 7:30, 7:45. It's 8 o'clock kickoff. Yeah, about 7:30 we'll go live. Germany against Scotland, Toney against Havertz. And we'll cherry pick the best games. Once we get to the knockout stage, I'll probably do every game. But in the groups, I'm just going to cherry pick the big games. And obviously, we'll do all the best games. So, listen, appreciate everyone tuned in. My Dean said, completely agree. Saka to a bench. What's that say? Bench, Saka, I don't know what's going on there, but hey, big up for the super chat. Thank you very much to everyone tuned in. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Have a great Friday. I'll see you all tonight for the start of the Euros, and we'll see what's happening with Havertz and Toney. Take care, everyone. Bless.